Costco built its empire on one promise: premium quality at unbeatable prices. But what if that promise has quietly started to crack? Robert F. Kennedy Jr., known for exposing what corporations don't want the public to see, has now turned his attention to America's favorite bulk buy paradise. His warning isn't about politics, it's about protein. The 5 meats he refuses to buy from Costco aren't just personal preferences. They reveal a growing rot in the system that feeds the nation. Because when something looks too good, too uniform, too perfect, it usually is. How can a store sell meat for a fraction of what local butchers charge and still make a profit? What corners are being cut between the slaughterhouse and your dinner plate? Across the country, the USDA has logged rising cases of imported meat with chemical preservatives, antibiotic residues, and misleading labels. Yet shoppers keep filling carts, believing the myth that bulk means bargain. This is the Downturn Report, where the truth gets personal. Today we're exposing the 5 meats Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says he'll never buy from Costco again. And don't panic, because by the end, you'll know which safer, cleaner brands truly deserve your trust. Number 1. Rotisserie chicken. Every American knows that smell. That hypnotic wave of roasted chicken that greets you the moment you step into Costco, wafting through the air vents like a siren song for the working class. You tell yourself it's just dinner, but let's be honest, it's a ritual. The golden bird spinning under those heat lamps for $5 feels like a win against inflation, a victory in a world where everything else, rent, gas, healthcare, has gone through the roof. But Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s warning hits hard because it forces people to face a question few dare to ask. What exactly are you feeding your family when you grab that bird? The answer, it turns out, is a whole lot more than just chicken. That Costco rotisserie chicken, officially branded as the Kirkland Signature Seasoned Rotisserie Chicken, weighs about 3 pounds and costs less than a gallon of milk. Sounds like a miracle, right? But no miracle comes without a price. Behind that $5 tag is a billion-dollar strategy, one that Costco guards fiercely. They even built their own chicken processing plant in Fremont, Nebraska, to lock in supply and control costs. It's called the Lincoln Premium Poultry Facility, and it handles more than 2 million chickens every single week. The company claims it's about efficiency. Critics call it something else: corporate colonization of the food chain. Small farmers in the region say they were lured in by promises of stability, only to find themselves crushed by strict contracts that leave them with all the risk and none of the profit. Think of it like a chicken version of sharecropping, except this time, the land is corporate infrastructure, and the crop is protein sold in bulk under fluorescent light. Then there's the bird itself. You'd think for something so simple, just chicken, salt, and maybe some seasoning, the ingredient list would be short, but the label reads like a grocery store's chemistry aisle: dextrose, modified food starch, sodium phosphate, carrageenan, natural flavors. Those so-called natural flavors are a legal loophole. They can hide up to 100 different substances, from MSG derivatives to lab-synthesized flavor compounds. Each one designed to trick your tongue into thinking you're eating something fresher than it really is. And here's the kicker: the sugar and starches aren't for taste. They're there to give that glossy, golden finish that makes the bird look Instagram perfect, even after sitting under heat lamps for hours. That's why the meat near the bone turns mushy while the breast dries out. The internal moisture balance collapses as the bird bakes itself under constant heat. Public health researchers have quietly raised concerns about the bacterial risks of keeping food at hot-hold temperatures for long durations. A report from the USDA notes that even small temperature fluctuations under heat lamps can allow bacteria like Clostridium perfringens or Bacillus cereus to multiply, the same pathogens that cause foodborne illness resembling a bad flu. And yet those glowing rotisserie racks are treated as symbols of trust. Families queue up in lines, filling carts, while the real danger hides not in what's visible, but in what's normalized. A mass-produced illusion of home-cooked care. And let's not forget the chickens themselves. Animal welfare investigations have repeatedly found birds in Costco's supply chain suffering from swollen joints, open sores, and deformities caused by rapid growth cycles. The New York Times reported that the company's signature birds are bred to grow unnaturally large in under 7 weeks, twice as fast as traditional chickens. Their legs buckle under their weight, their organs strain, and their short lives unfold in cramped barns with artificial lighting. The result? A plump carcass that looks appealing but carries a biological cost. Costco has been sued for animal cruelty by design, with prosecutors arguing that the company intentionally breeds birds to the point of deformity just to maintain its famous price point. So when Kennedy says he'll never buy that chicken again, he's not being dramatic. He's pulling back the curtain on a system that conditions Americans to trade transparency for convenience. It's a psychological trap dressed up as a grocery deal. The real cost isn't $5. It's the erosion of quality, ethics, and health all rolled into one shrink-wrapped promise. And that, in his words, is how industrial food quietly wins, by convincing you it's still wholesome while feeding you a processed illusion. But there's a silver lining. You don't need to give up roasted chicken, just the illusion of it. For roughly $1.50 a pound, you can buy a raw bird and roast it at home in under an hour with a little salt and butter. Better yet, turn to producers who still believe food should be food, not strategy. Brands like Mary's Free-Range Chicken, Bell & Evans, Farmer Focus, Butcher Box, and Good Ranchers all offer antibiotic-free, slow-grown chickens that taste like what your grandparents used to cook. Yes, they cost a few dollars more, but at least you're paying for meat, not marketing. Because in a world where even a $5 chicken comes with fine print, the most radical thing you can do is cook your own bird and know exactly what's on your plate. Number 2, ribeye steak. The second Americans hear Costco ribeye, the imagination fills in the blanks. That marbled masterpiece shimmering behind plastic wrap, promising steakhouse luxury for warehouse prices. It's the crown jewel of weekend barbecues, the king of the carnivore's kingdom. But as Robert F. Kennedy Jr. warned, what looks like a deal of the century might just be another corporate illusion dressed in fat and shine. The truth is, those neatly pre-cut ribeye steaks sitting under fluorescent lights aren't just overpriced. They represent everything that's gone wrong with how America shops for food. Convenience disguised as value, waste disguised as quality. Let's talk numbers, the kind that don't lie. Right now in most Costco warehouses, the whole ribeye roast and the pre-cut ribeye steaks sit side by side. Same meat, same cow, different psychology. The pre-cut version screams, ready to cook. Trimmed, symmetrical, camera ready. But the whole ribeye roast, though slightly intimidating in its raw, uncut form, saves roughly $4 per pound. Now do the math. An average ribeye roast weighs around 16 pounds. That's $64 saved just by picking up a knife at home. $64. That's not pocket change for the average American family watching grocery prices climb like gas in summer. That's an entire week of groceries, a tank and a half of fuel, or half a utility bill, all buried inside one corporate decision to make people believe they're too busy to slice their own meat. And here's the kicker nobody talks about: the trimmings. When that whole ribeye roast is cut by hand at home, the white ribbons of fat you collect aren't waste, they're liquid gold. That fat can be rendered into beef tallow, used for frying eggs, browning steaks, even moisturizing skin. Yes, old school folks used to do that before lotion aisles took over pharmacies. That same white gold sells for about $4.25 per pound today, a number that used to be zero when butchers gave it away for free. But as the carnivore movement gained popularity, those trimmings turned into profit margins. Butchers now treat them like cryptocurrency, scarce, valuable, and oddly worshipped. That's how far the food system has drifted. What once went in the trash now costs more than a gallon of milk. If you compare the economics, it gets even clearer. The average price of ground beef in the US hovers around $6 per pound, and most families settle for an 80-20 mix. When you grind your ribeye trimmings at home, you're already saving over $1 per pound. And what you get is cleaner, fresher, and richer. Meanwhile, big box chains make billions pre-packaging the same meat you could have portioned yourself in 10 minutes. They sell you time while quietly charging rent on your ignorance. It's a classic trick. Convince people they're too busy to do simple things, then monetize their convenience. And it's not just about the math. The texture and flavor of pre-cut ribeye differ from what you slice fresh at home. Every extra hour that steak sits under plastic wrap, it oxidizes. The fat dulls. The edges turn dark. By the time you toss it on the grill, it's lost the vibrancy of freshly cut meat. The grocery industry knows this, but won't tell you, because that same dulling effect is disguised with a bright red gas flush in the packaging, using carbon monoxide to keep it looking fresh. The USDA allows it, but even insiders admit it's a deception of the eye more than preservation of quality. The next time a ribeye at Costco looks too perfectly red, it might not be the cow. It might be chemistry. This isn't an attack on steak. It's a wake-up call about who controls the plate. When even a piece of meat becomes a psychological game, you know the system is off the rails. Kennedy's larger point isn't about elitism. It's about empowerment. Cutting your own meat isn't an act of rebellion. It's an act of reclaiming common sense. It's taking back the $50 or $60 that corporations quietly siphon through packaging and marketing. It's breaking free from the illusion that pre-done equals better. The truth is, America didn't get fat on real steak. It got fat on fake convenience. So the next time that ribeye behind the glass case winks at you, remember, the real luxury isn't the steak, it's the freedom to know where your money and your food truly go. Skip the pre-cut siren song, pick up a whole roast, and slice it yourself. Keep those precious trimmings, render that fat, and cook like your grandparents did, for flavor, not flash. If you want honest alternatives, turn to brands that don't hide behind packaging tricks. Creekstone Farms, U.S. Wellness Meats, White Oak Pastures, Porter Road, or Holy Grail Steak Co. They're not chasing trends. They're keeping tradition alive. And when the grill sizzles with your own handiwork, you'll realize it's not just steak you've reclaimed. It's a little piece of control in a system built to make you forget you ever had it. Number 3, chuck roast. Once upon a time, the humble chuck roast was the meat of the people, the dependable choice for families trying to stretch every dollar for church suppers, potlucks, and backyard cookouts where the goal was to feed many with little. It was the cut that didn't pretend to be fancy, but quietly did its job, slow cooked into tender submission after hours in a crock pot. But as Robert F. Kennedy Jr. now warns, even that symbol of working-class practicality has become another victim of the corporate price game. What used to be an affordable family staple has been hijacked by packaging, marketing, and markups hiding in plain sight under Costco's bright warehouse lights. At first glance, it feels harmless. Those tidy, shiny, pre-cut chuck roasts stacked in plastic, ready for the oven. The price tag says $12 a pound, and you think, well, everything's expensive these days. But sitting just inches away in the same meat section is the unassuming whole primal cut known as the chuck roll. The very same meat, uncut, unwrapped in pretense, for $7.20 a pound. That's almost half the price for the same cow. The difference isn't quality, it's convenience. In other words, you're paying nearly double just to let someone else hold the knife. Now let's talk math that hits harder than a gas bill in February. The average chuck roll at Costco weighs around 20 pounds. With a $4.80 difference per pound, that's $96 saved with a single purchase. $96 that could pay for a week's groceries, a prescription refill, or a child's school supplies. Yet millions of shoppers give that away every day without realizing it. Why? Because corporate America has mastered one thing better than anyone else: turning people's exhaustion into revenue. The idea is simple. If they can convince you that cutting meat is too much work, they can charge you for doing it, then sell the illusion of ready to cook as kindness. It's manipulation wrapped in shrink plastic. But the chuck roll has another secret hiding in plain sight, something most consumers have no idea about. Inside that massive primal cut is what butchers call the gold mine of flavor, the Denver steak, also known as the zabuton. It's tucked just under the shoulder blade, where the muscle fibers stay protected and marbled to perfection. This cut is so tender and rich that chefs often compare it to the Wagyu of the shoulder. On its own, a Zabuton steak sells for $30 a pound or more, when you can even find it. Most grocery stores don't carry it because the butchering process is too precise, too inefficient for mass retail. But when you buy the whole chuck roll, that delicacy is right there waiting for you, hiding behind the illusion of cheap meat. You're not just saving money, you're unlocking a secret cut that high-end restaurants quietly charge a fortune for. And that's where the betrayal stings. The very system that once made meat accessible to working-class families has flipped the rules. Cuts once sold as budget-friendly are now premium luxuries, while the real value is buried in bulk packaging that most shoppers overlook. The corporate meat system doesn't reward knowledge, it punishes it. The less you know, the more you pay. Meanwhile, small butchers, the ones who used to share tips, slice custom portions, and slip an extra bone for soup stock, have been squeezed out by warehouses that sell uniformity instead of craftsmanship. The result? A generation that has forgotten what real butchering, real saving, and real meat even look like. Kennedy's warning isn't just about dollars per pound, it's about the slow erosion of food literacy in America. When everything is pre-cut, pre-cooked, and pre-packaged, you lose more than money. You lose the connection between effort and reward. The corporations know that, and they're betting you'll keep trading knowledge for convenience until you forget there's another way. But here's the truth. The chuck roll gives it all back. With a sharp knife and a little patience, you not only reclaim nearly $100, but gain a freezer full of meals. Roasts, stew meat, chuck eye steaks, and that hidden Denver jewel. It's the kind of practical abundance that built this country before marketing departments turned it into a lifestyle brand. And for those who want alternatives that still respect the craft, there are honest producers keeping the flame alive. Try beef from U.S. Wellness Meats, White Oak Pastures, Porter Road, or Good Ranchers. Companies that don't inflate prices just because the meat looks prepped. Even local farmers' co-ops still offer full chuck rolls if you ask. The real victory isn't finding the cheapest deal, it's finding the courage to look past convenience. Because sometimes the biggest secret in Costco isn't the high-end steak, it's the old-fashioned wisdom hiding in the uncut slab right next to it. Number 4, shrimp cocktail. There's something undeniably seductive about Costco's shrimp cocktail. That perfect ring of glossy pink shrimp encircling a cup of crimson sauce, gleaming like jewelry under the store's sterile lights. It's the kind of display that whispers, "You've made it," even if all you did was toss it into the cart between toilet paper towers and a case of sparkling water. But as Robert F. Kennedy Jr. warns, the most dangerous food isn't always the one that looks suspicious. It's the one that looks too perfect to question. Because this shrimp cocktail, the beloved party shortcut of Middle America, is quietly serving up a story of deception, chemicals, and industrial shortcuts that no one talks about. Let's start with the part no one mentions. That tray of shrimp has been cooked not once, not twice, but sometimes 3 times before it lands in your refrigerator. First, the shrimp are flash cooked at the processing plant to preserve color, then frozen solid for shipment, and finally thawed or even briefly reheated for display. That endless loop of heat and cold destroys everything that makes shrimp worth eating. The sweetness, the bounce, the oceanic flavor. What's left is rubbery meat that somehow tastes both wet and dry, like it can't decide what state it's in. The texture's gone, the flavor's gone, and you're left wondering why it tastes like the ocean sneezed on cardboard. And that cocktail sauce sitting proudly in the center? It's less homemade luxury and more chemical confetti. Flip the label and you'll find a lineup straight out of a corn refinery. Sugar, high fructose corn syrup, tomato concentrate, xanthan gum, and preservatives with names longer than your receipt. That tangy sweetness you crave isn't tomato. It's corn syrup in disguise. For anyone following a carnivore or keto diet, it's a nutritional landmine, the kind of hidden sugar trap that quietly undermines your health while masquerading as high-protein elegance. The sauce alone can spike blood sugar faster than a candy bar, but most people never think to question it because it's seafood. That's how sneaky the illusion is. But the real iceberg beneath this cocktail platter lies in the shrimp's origin. Most of Costco's shrimp cocktail isn't wild caught. It's farm-raised overseas, often in places like Vietnam, Thailand, and Indonesia, where environmental regulations are treated more like suggestions. Investigations from The Guardian, Bloomberg, and even the Associated Press have uncovered shrimp farms operating under grim conditions. Overcrowded ponds, antibiotic-saturated water, and workers paid in pennies to churn out clean protein for export. Some farms have been linked to forced labor, others to wastewater runoff so toxic it kills surrounding marine life. That fresh shrimp you're serving to guests may have lived in water you wouldn't dip a finger into. It's not freshness, it's globalized contamination dressed up in a plastic tray. And here's the punchline. You're paying more for it. Costco's ready-to-eat shrimp cocktail runs about $19.50 per tray, which breaks down to roughly $13 or $14 per pound. Meanwhile, the raw Kirkland frozen shrimp, the exact same species, costs around $10 a pound. The price difference is the cost of the illusion, the convenience tax. For a $4 saving per pound, you can buy the frozen shrimp yourself, boil them for 90 seconds, and shock them in ice water. No preservatives, no double thawing, no slime, no sour aftertaste. The whole process takes less time than finding a parking spot at Costco. And if you really want to upgrade, skip the farmed imports entirely. Wild-caught, Argentinian red shrimp, found in Costco's own freezer section, or from brands like Vital Choice, Wild Planet, Pacific Seafood, or Sea Bear Smokehouse, are a revelation. They're naturally sweet, almost lobster-like, and require no sauce to taste alive. Sear them in butter, squeeze a little lemon, and you'll remember what shrimp were meant to taste like before industrialization turned them into protein widgets. Once you've had real wild shrimp, those pale, soggy tray specimens look more like a corporate prank than a meal. The deeper truth, as Kennedy points out, is that Costco isn't the villain. The system is. The same supply chains that deliver shrimp by the ton also deliver blindness by design. They count on Americans being too tired, too busy, or too trusting to ask where their food really comes from. And when people forget that fresh can still mean processed, the corporations win. So the next time you reach for that glistening ring of shrimp, remember, it's not celebration food. It's convenience with a passport full of secrets. If you want the real deal, it's waiting in the freezer aisle, not under the store lights. Number 5, filet mignon. Costco feels like paradise for anyone who loves meat. The endless freezers, the marble-cut slabs, the illusion that you've entered a temple of savings guarded by bulk packaging and fluorescent lights. But as Robert F. Kennedy Jr. put it bluntly, not all that glitters in the meat aisle is gold. And nowhere is that clearer than with filet mignon, the so-called crown jewel of beef, which has quietly become one of the most overpriced and overrated traps in the entire warehouse. Once a luxury reserved for special occasions, it's now been turned into a marketing weapon, sold at near-premium prices that trick everyday shoppers into believing they're buying indulgence when they're actually buying inflation. Even at Costco, the filet mignon game is ruthless. The pre-cut steaks sit front and center, pale and picture-perfect under white lighting, tagged at $20 per pound. Just a few feet away, the whole tenderloin, the exact same muscle, uncut, untouched, sells for roughly $10 less per pound. That's a $10 per pound illusion sold purely through presentation. The average whole tenderloin weighs 6 to 7 pounds, meaning you're losing $70 simply for letting someone else slice it for you. That's not convenience. That's psychological warfare in cling wrap. And yet, people keep reaching for it because the word filet has been branded into American consciousness as the pinnacle of quality, when in reality it's just the leanest cut from an already expensive animal. But the problem goes deeper than price. Filet mignon's reputation as the healthiest steak has made it one of the most industrially manipulated cuts in the meat world. Because it's naturally tender but mild in flavor, many suppliers enhance it with flavor solutions, injected saline or phosphate blends meant to boost juiciness and prolong shelf life. These chemical cocktails are perfectly legal under USDA regulations as long as the label includes the phrase, contains up to X% of a solution. The trouble? Most shoppers don't even notice that tiny fine print. They assume USDA choice, or prime, means unaltered meat, when in fact it often means optimized for shipping, not taste. What's even worse is oxidation, the slow chemical change that happens when pre-sliced steaks sit too long exposed to air. That's why so many filet packages look faintly gray or pinkish brown even before cooking. What you're seeing isn't aged beef, it's air damage. And here's the irony. The whole tenderloin is almost always fresher. Because it's vacuum sealed, it's protected from oxygen and bacteria. It's also handled fewer times, meaning less exposure to temperature swings and contamination. When you cut it yourself, you decide how thick you want it, how to trim the silver skin, and how to portion the tips for stir-fry or medallions. Suddenly, you're not at the mercy of corporate packaging. You're the butcher. You're in control. That, Kennedy argues, is the heart of true food freedom, not letting a label or a barcode decide what you eat or how much it costs. Even the nutritional myth needs unpacking. Filet mignon might sound clean because it's low in fat, but that's precisely what robs it of flavor. The richness people crave in steak comes from fat marbling, not from its absence. Ironically, the same consumers who avoid fatty cuts for health often end up cooking filet in butter or oil to compensate, unknowingly adding back the fat they paid extra to remove. It's a circular trap, and one the meat industry has no incentive to correct. The less flavor a steak has, the more sauces and seasonings they can sell you on the side. And if the sticker shock at Costco isn't enough, local grocery stores make it even worse. In cities like Seattle or Los Angeles, pre-cut fillets now start around $28 per pound, and many of them look oxidized before they even hit the pan. Meanwhile, chefs and seasoned carnivores know the secret. The real prize isn't filet mignon, it's the whole tenderloin. Cut your own, and you're saving nearly $10 per pound while getting a better product. That's a $70 difference for the same cow. Enough to buy 2 weeks worth of real, flavorful meats like ribeye, short ribs, or brisket. If filet mignon truly calls your name for a special dinner, skip the pre-cut tray and buy whole. Or better yet, explore alternatives that deliver tenderness without the markup, like flat iron steak, culotte, picanha, or Terrace Major. Brands like Creekstone Farms, Porter Road, Holy Grail Steak Co., and Snake River Farms all offer whole cuts or dry-aged options that eclipse Costco's shrink-wrapped luxury. Because real indulgence isn't about spending more, it's about outsmarting a system that profits from your assumptions. The next time you see that perfect pink circle of premium beef, remember, sometimes the most expensive thing in the store is the illusion of value itself. The truth about our food is just beginning to unfold. Stay awake, stay informed, and subscribe for what's next.
Thank you for watching today's video all the way through. If you found the content helpful, don't forget to click like and subscribe to stay updated to our latest daily videos. Now feel free to check out other feature videos currently shown on your screen. Goodbye, and see you in the next video.